So their opening statements, they will be given 1 minute. After that, there are questions that we've prepared. They will have 90 seconds to answer each of those questions. After that, the audience will be able to participate. There will be a number that comes up on the screen. You'll be able to text in your question. So, Jamie Lynn, would you please start with your opening statement?
Yes. Okay. Hi, my name is Jamie Lynn Davola, and 4 years ago, I decided to run for the D49 School Board, Director District 1. I heard a sermon from Pastor Mark of this church about the importance of believers getting involved in politics. It is imperative that godly men and women run for office and vote righteously based on their faith to change our culture to save our cities, our states, and our country. It is imperative that we start with educating our young people about the true history of our country and how we were founded on Judeo-Christian values based in the Bible. We cannot leave the educating of our kids to the ungodly who promote transgender ideology, wokeism, socialism, Marxism, and hatred in their country. We cannot allow schools to ignore the mental health contagion and gender dysphoria and the sexualization of our young people. We cannot allow teachers and counselors to hide things from parents. So please vote for me, because I'm out of time.
First of all, I would like to thank CFAN for making this facility available and the Culture Impact team for putting this all together. And I'd like to thank everyone who showed up tonight. I first ran for the Board of Education 4 years ago, and this was really never in my plans. But 4 years ago, I saw the harmful effects of the COVID shutdowns. We had a spike in teenage suicides in El Paso County, and I thought, can I make a difference? Is there something I could do? Well, 16 years ago, I had a friend of mine who was serving on the D49 board who actually convinced me to move out to District 49, and she had asked me to run for the Board of Education. I said, no, I'll never do that. Well, never say never. When we look at some of what's been happening with the education system, after the shutdowns, we had tremendous learning losses, and emergent readers had trouble because of masks, watching how vocabulary is done. And so my original goal was to, and it still is, to make a difference.
Hi, hello, I'm Ivy Liu. These are the facts, and facts are ugly. 30% of our graduates are proficient in post-secondary and career readiness. That's not acceptable. Cheyenne Mountain is at 90-something%. D20 is at 80-something%. We're turning out 30%. That is why I'm running. I was hoping the board would do it, not doing it. So I'm coming back in. And it looks to be very unpleasant, but that's why I'm here. We cannot afford to be graduating our kids with no future, where they struggle to even get a job, let alone keep a job or advance in a job and have a family. We all have that opportunity. Why can't we give it to them? At $300 million a year budget in D49, we should be spending our monies better. The board should be addressing these issues. They're not. And so I need to get back on. If I can get support from the community to raise your voices, we need to educate our community. We have one job and we're not doing it.
First question, Ivy, you will take this first question. As a board member, what are your 3 top priorities to achieve?
Well, obviously, education, raising the academic scores, and people try to find fault and make excuses with these scores, or that it's not a good system and so on. Well, you know what? Across the board, every district is being measured by the same system. And when other districts just is incredibly high compared to us, we have a question to ask of ourselves. And it's not pretty to say you aren't doing your job, but we aren't doing our jobs, okay? And D49 has not recovered from 2019 pre-COVID scores. So most districts have caught up. Cheyenne Mountain, D20. 3 districts have risen extensively since 2019, with D38 rising by 12% in their language arts, Woodland Park at 6% or so, and Manitou Springs at 8% or so. It can be done. Why aren't we doing it? We have 25,000 students and $300 million. Why isn't the board addressing this? If it can be done in other districts, we can. And so we need to put metal to the metal, or whatever you call it. I can never say that right. But anyway, we haven't focused exclusively on improving our academic scores, and we are harming our children. And it just hurts my heart to know that our kids are being sent out there not equipped.
The top priority that the Board of Education has set every year at the annual Planning Summit has been focusing on improving academic achievement, and we are making growth. Not at the rate we would like to make it, but the top 3 priorities for me would be to focus on academic success. Now, I want to expand upon that just a bit because there's too many distractions. We're not looking at core educational knowledge, and we have to focus on what are public schools for. The other thing that has really become an issue is dysregulated students. I've talked to teachers about behavior in the classroom, and in some classrooms, it has really become a problem where one student can disrupt the learning environment for all students. And so we need to have orderly classrooms so kids can learn. That's what they're there for. And I would say the third one is school safety. I'm also a liaison to what's called the SCAC team, which is the Enhanced Security Advisory Committee. And because of the size of District 49, which is 132 square miles, we are both county and city, and so we coordinate with the Colorado Springs Police Department and the El Paso County Sheriff's Department, as well as our amazing security team, because we want kids to feel safe. And we want parents to feel safe sending their kids to school to learn.
So the top 3 for me, I've been working on since I've been on the school board. Academic success, discipline in the classrooms and making sure that our teachers are supported by their administration, and removing any woke ideology out of our social emotional learning programs. I will admit there are some elements of this in our current social emotional learning programs, and I would love to be able to continue to work to remove those things. For academic success, we have created metrics and standards for our district where we can actually evaluate our superintendent based on academic scores and academic success. Because of that, our math scores have increased year over year. Our reading scores have increased. What we're working on in our priority is writing, and writing is a crucial goal that we've made as our annual strategic plan. So that is my top 3. When it comes to discipline, we have got to give support to our teachers. Our teachers are leaving because of bruises that they're getting from students, because of there are state statutes and state laws that hinder administration and hinder teachers from being able to take control of their class and have those students removed from the classroom so they're not being disruptive and causing major issues and problems in the classroom. I would know this because I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for the last 17 years, and I'm done with my time.
I love how Jamie Lynn has to keep announcing she's trying to go over time. All right, she is a teacher.
I'm a teacher.
All right, Jamie Lynn, you will take this question first. Projections for 2025-26 school year indicate budget shortfalls leading to possible program cuts, staff reduction, and overall impact on student experiences. How would you address this?
So one of the things I think we spend way too much money on is our social emotional learning programs. We have way too many, and a lot of them cost a lot of money. I am more for, let's pick one character program that is helping students to learn responsibility, respect, excellence, and determination, hard work, self-discipline, and stop with this we're going to tap into your emotions type of issue. So if we cut some of those programs, we would shave off a lot of money that we could use elsewhere. So that's one way. We've also made several staff reductions in the last year or so of absorbing different roles that could be combined into one role so that we're able to reduce the administration levels. That way we're able to focus our monies on our teachers and help supporting them directly inside the classrooms. Because the most important things is that we're getting money to our teachers so our teachers can teach our students. So that's how I would address making sure that we're using our budgets the right way. Thank you.
I don't know how many of you are aware of the BS factor. Now, it's not what you're thinking. It's actually called the budget stabilization factor. So as many of you have known, your property taxes may have gone up. And that seems like a great thing, so the schools should have lots of money, right? Well, the state of Colorado, who has trouble handling their own budget, looked at that and they decided the more revenue we bring in as a school district in property taxes, they will reduce what they give us. And that's called the BS factor. And I agree, it's a lot of BS. So when you look at it and when you look at what we're going to be facing, we've always been really good in District 49 with doing more than with less. I have colleagues who might disagree in the two other school districts we usually use for comparison because they're similar sized, and that's District 11 and District 20. We get less military money. We do not have an east-west corridor, so we don't have manufacturing. We actually, and that's, by the way, a very good revenue generator for schools. So we've always done more with less, and if you want proof, just visit our administration building off of Woodman and then go to D20 and D11's buildings. So I think when it comes to budget shortfalls, we really have to look at reducing the fluff wherever it may be and tightening our belts, just like you would do in your household.
So one of the very first things I would do as a board member would be to do a comprehensive audit of where our monies are going. They have certain percentages, and that's all they look at in the annual audits that we do. I don't believe that's sufficient. I believe there's a lot of money being wasted. We have 4 zones run by 4 different administrators underneath the superintendent. There's a lot of duplication of efforts, curriculum, every other aspect of running a school. That's a duplicate expense that should not be there. One expense, one massive discount for curriculum, that's the right one. And second of all, if you look at the expenses at all, there's a lot of trips taken by many, many people staying at places like the Disney Resort, the Hyatt Regency. You know what? What's wrong with hotel, what's that called? Motel 6. Okay, maybe a little bit better than that. But we're spending a lot of money sending people to these conferences. Well, our kids are like failing. Maybe we don't need to go to these conferences for a while. Maybe we just need to spend the money at home and focus on bettering our kids' education rather than going on all these fancy trips that hasn't done anything in our district and the performance of our students. Students, remember our students.
Sorry, all I heard was my property tax went up. I live in District 49, and now I know. Thank you for enlightening me. Now I know who to go complain to. All right, Ivy Lou, you will take this one first. District 49 administers a culture and climate survey to students. In what way does this survey, which includes sensitive questions on topics like sexuality, gender, race, and religion, promote academic excellence, and how does it align with the executive order to remove CRT and DEI training from schools? It's in front of you.
Okay. So I am absolutely against those surveys. They are intrusive. They are way past privacy laws, if you look at the laws. And in fact, now that I've been digging a lot into AI, All of this data is being collected on our children, every single one. And I used to think, well, how can any system manage so much data on so many students? They can. And every one of us who even looks inside at a screen is being kept track of, including our eyeball movements. So, absolute no. On the board, I would do away with all of those surveys that has absolutely no place in the educational environment. We try to do that, but we got outvoted when I was on the board. And as far as how does that align with the executive order to remove CRT and DEI, no, it doesn't. It is being intrusive. It's being done in secret. And I really, really hate it when our administrators and our board allows it to let these things go on without doing something about it. As the board, we have the right to tell the administrator what to do and how to do it, and we have asked this to be removed, and not all of it have been removed, and I'm not happy about it.
As many of you know, we were the first district to pass many things, including a resolution specifically against critical race theory. And then we also did a -R, which is the regulations that enhance that, because we knew we could not go through every bit of curriculum we have and completely sanitize it because of the way curriculum has been published for decades and decades. So we have a specific regulation that we will not teach certain things, to include race essentialism, that race is the most important thing. There's a whole bunch of different parts of that where we could remove it. And since the executive order on DEI, I've been working alongside Jamie Lynn to get rid of some of that language for DEI. In the Culture and Climate Survey, the parts that I'm aware of, a lot of it is, would I recommend my school to something else? We do not participate in the Healthy Kids Survey, and the Healthy Kids Survey has questions about sexuality, gender, race, and religion. I'm not aware of those being in our Culture and Climate Surveys, and I will take a look at that and I'll report back to you, because I think we might be confusing two different things, and that is specifically why we do not allow the Healthy Kids Survey in District 49.
Well, just like Director Thompson had said, our Culture and Climate Survey is specific to how kids feel about schools, how they feel about their teachers, and what it's like to be a kid in the classroom. The Healthy Kids Survey was originally in our district, and it was removed. We no longer have that survey to our students, so I am unaware of any surveys that include sensitive questions on these topics. And we do have our CRT ban, which I voted to make into policy. So we have it as a policy. So if these things are happening, we need to be notified right away so we can deal with that, because that goes against our policy. When it comes to DEI, we took out DEI language in our Waypoint student handbook so that we are making sure to follow the executive orders. And we turned out I already mentioned that, but we turned out the CRT ban resolution and made that into a policy. Very important for us to make sure we don't have any of these proponents in there. Also, just to mention, we changed our vision and mission statement for the district from citizens in a global society to citizens in our constitutional republic, because we don't believe we should be focusing on how we can be global society people in citizenry, and instead we are Americans, and we belong in we need to make sure we uphold what's our values of our country.
Jamie Lynn, you're first.
So Lori never gets to go first?
No. You got to be smart about how you choose your seats. That's why she came in here first and she claimed her seat. All right, so here we go. Did you not go to school? You don't know how this works? Did you have any siblings? Some parents have alleged that the district fails to provide necessary support for students with disabilities, leading to legal action. How would you address this?
this is definitely an issue that, as I've been door knocking, people are very concerned about. How do we help students with these disabilities? One of the hardships that we have as a school district is the lack of paraprofessionals. So having not enough people to take care of what's on those IEPs in order to provide them the services that they need. Unfortunately, that's a really hard thing to help with. One way that we helped to address this was to raise our paraprofessional pay. That way we could attract more paraprofessionals to the district in order to support these students with these needs. We also revamped the way that we do special education so that every school has a way to help every child with their needs instead of sending a student from one area of the district and busing them all the way across to the other area of the district in order to receive their needs. So they're able to go to their neighborhood school in order to receive those services. Again, this is a huge challenge just because of lack of paraprofessionals in our district. So I would love to be able to have more ideas on how to recruit more people.
We are really lucky in District 49 that not only are we members of CASB, which is the Colorado Association of School Boards, but we are also members of CLASS, which is Colorado Leaders for Academic Success. One of the standing resolutions that CASB has had is to fully fund IDEA, which Americans with Disabilities Act, because the state is really good at coming up with mandates and really bad about funding those mandates. Starting next year, every child will be screened for dyslexia, not because there's indications. By the way, they're not requiring any special treatment for it. They just are requiring the screening for it, which was already required under the READ Act. So we have more and more regulations coming from the state of Colorado, and Jamie Lynn touched on it correctly, that we did increase paraprofessional pay and we're getting close to being fully staffed. But it's a really high turnover field too, so you have to be cognizant that it's not a one-size-fits-all. We also have resources from BOCES. We get help with interpreters and different areas where they can backfill. So when you look at the number of disabilities that are out there, the increasing rates of students being diagnosed with autism, I have a lot of knowledge about dyslexia, dysgraphia, and ADHD. It's tough to meet all of a student's needs.
So when I got on the board in 2021, special ed was a huge issue. There were lots of problems, lawsuits, and there were lawsuits that we didn't even know about, settlements. That cost the district lots of money. And again, when we do the overhaul of the budget, that is something we need to look at. The cost has got to be cut back so we can invest it into higher quality special education. People were being fired. In one particular district, 5 administrators got fired in a row without a whole lot of transparency to the board as to why, but it was related to special ed. And then we brought a flock of paras and other professionals in, and then we lost a whole bunch of them all at once. We have a problem. Now, zones, one of the zones have a whole lot more problem than another. So I would go and observe what goes on in one zone, went to another zone that seems to be doing a lot better. Their parents seems to be happy, and the parents are happier. So I would ask the administrator there, what are you doing that's right? He can't really put a finger on what he's doing right other than treat people well. So again, this is where the disconnect comes in. We have 3 different zones, 4, but 3 of them has to do directly with students. And we're not sharing answers. We're not sharing what works. That's where the disconnect. If I won the board, I will tell you I would do away with the zones. That may get me not elected, but it is a waste of money. It is a ship. I'm from the Navy, going 3 directions rather than 1. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do.
Ivy, you're first. How should the school district support teachers who have students who are consistently behavior problems in the classroom?
Oh, that's my favorite topic. Okay, so I have a very strong opinion about restorative practice that was brought in by Mr. Obama. That was, in my opinion, directly created to create chaos and confusion. A communist manifesto thing. It has created problems, and you got to think about this. When we talk about discipline in the classroom, we're not just talking about one kid that got off scot-free. We're talking one kid that got off scot-free for color, skin, whatever it is. It is unfair. You have 30 kids watching that and you go, I can get away with that. So it's not just the one kid that continues to think they can get away with something. It is the 30 other kids. So when we talk about classroom discipline, let's just not talk about how to help the teachers solve these problems. Let's create the cause. We got to look at the cause. And actually, that's true for every problem we have in the district. Look at the cause. Stop trying to fix the symptoms because they will keep coming back if you don't address the cause. And we have a lot of causes we need to be looking at as a board as to why we're having such discipline problems. And you know, holding a ruler over a child's head is not going to be the answer. It's going to be, why is this child acting out? And one longtime teacher told me, when you start educating the kids, they will stop misbehaving.
Once again, we're back to dysregulated students. I remember I attended a course on de-escalation out in the Falcon Zone, and I never forgot what one teacher said. She says, well, I don't care when they try to hit me, but I hate it when they spit on me. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, my kids would have known what would have happened if I had ever gotten a call like that. But anyhow, the bottom line is the administrators have got to support the teachers. That's first and foremost. They have to have administrative support. And what's really a shame is what restorative practices were intended to be has been hijacked and morphed. It was a way to reach resolution and understanding, to improve behavior, and that has really been hijacked. And so that's something that always needs to be looked at. But the original intent was good, and like many good things, just leave it to bureaucrats to come up with rules, and everything will change in that. We have overseen, as a board, multiple suspensions and expulsions. They do happen. And they also have the right to appeal to the board, but we receive updates on what's happening. So I think we need strong principals who will support the teachers, and that they have to have teachers' aides or whatever they need to make sure that that one kid does not disrupt an entire classroom, because that's not right.
So I think the main problem with behavior problems in the class is the fact that we have taken God completely out of our schools. We no longer have prayer. We don't teach the Bible. We don't teach our kids morality or what's good, what's evil. I think bringing that back into our classrooms is essential. We need to have morality back into our schools. Part of that, too, is making sure that we have a sufficient classroom discipline policy and that administrators know exactly how to follow certain steps in order to help students that are needing those extra supports. But teaching them good character is a foundation of learning. Also, taking out non-academic teaching, including things that have like the social emotional learning where we're tapping into our emotions instead of focusing on reading, writing, and math is gonna be a problem. We also want to make sure that we are addressing the transgender mental health contagion. This is a huge problem, and we have to make sure that we're teaching kids the truth. I think it starts with actually teaching kids what is actually true. We have to teach the truth. It's vitally important for us to not keep beating around the bush and saying that boys can be boys and girls can be girls. That is inaccurate, and we have to be able to get back to our biblical foundations. I would say posting the 10 Commandments on the doors would be awesome.
I mean, I grew up in inner city Catholic schools. They had a very specific way to deal with behavior issues in the classroom. And it worked. I'm just saying. Now, I never got to experience it, but I watched people. Okay, Jamie Lynn, this one is, you will begin.
1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute for this. But we're not taking text questions yet. 90 seconds. Should the school district have a role in promoting patriotism? If so, how should it be promoted?
Absolutely, they should have a role in promoting patriotism. We're actually voting on this tomorrow night. We created a U.S. History, Civics, and Government Task Force in order for us to make sure that what we have in our district includes a patriotism component, as well as the U.S. Constitution. We also went over all of the documents, so we went in depth and looked at every high school level, what is actually taught, what curriculum is used, and does this align with what we want? I would love to be able to say, you have to do this, this, and this, to make sure that we're covering all pieces that I would like to include. I'm not sure if that's going to go down that way tomorrow. We'll find out. So absolutely, that's going to be a very important thing for us to focus on. We, like I said, changed our mission and vision statement from global society to constitutional republic. We also have implemented reading the preamble to the Colorado Constitution before every work session, starting with our next work session. And promoting teaching and singing patriotic songs is definitely on my list of things to do to make sure that we go back to the foundations of our country. I only have 10 seconds. And I just wasted it all. And there's no such thing as separation of church and state.
I am so excited because not only are we in the process of looking at this course, but we're also looking at scope and sequence, because we were wondering, why are we teaching civics in the 9th grade when it's the seniors who are going to be voting? They're going to become voting citizens. So I saw we get interesting email, and I saw some snarky comments that you cannot teach patriotism. And I have to tell you, when you have an enthused and engaged teacher, you sure as heck can. We have a lot of military members in this community, and so Jamie Lynn and I were talking the other day about which documents would you like to see included. We both like primary sourced material that's evidence-based, but that's harder when you're teaching history, but it is evidence-based. And so we wanted to make sure that they covered the basic documents. In every one of our high schools, they have not only the display of some of the founding documents, which, to be honest with you, some of them are hard to read as you're passing in the hallway, but that was another initiative that we did. And then Jamie Lynn spearheaded, where we have "In God We Trust." We have the national motto displayed in our boardroom and in our high schools. And I do have extra posters if any school needs extra ones to do. And so I think we do a good job of promoting patriotism and what is it to be in a constitutional republic.
So, as an immigrant to this country, I came here when I was 11. And I knew why, because my dad wanted to get us away from communist China. We were in Hong Kong, so we were 60 miles away, but it was coming in. I just kind of took it for granted what America has to offer. I was just told, if you work hard, you get to where you're going. That's exactly what I did. And but my sense of patriotism just was taken for granted. And then I joined the Navy, became a naval officer. It was the best experience in my life, and you know, at my old age, I still look back on the days when I served my country, and I'm so proud of what I've done. Now, here's the thing. I did not learn to be as patriotic as I am right now, even after the Navy, even during the Navy, until I took Ken's Constitution class 5 times to date. When you learn about the warriors of the founding fathers of this country, how could you not be proud of this country? Did you know only 3% of the people fought for our independence? 3%. That took courage. That took, basically, they're signing their name on a piece of paper saying, I am basically pledging my death and the loss of everything. If that doesn't give you courage, if that doesn't give you an example to our children, I don't know what will. Okay? So I am one of the most patriotic people you know. And I love it.
Look at Ivy Lou and Jamie Lynn sucking up to the moderator. Talking up to the moderator. All right, so so the text number will show up on the screen, and so you can begin texting your question. There it is. So again, let's be mindful. Make sure that the question can be asked to all the candidates. Is there anyone that has a difficulty texting? Don't raise your hand. I got some kids on the other side. They'll come help you. All right, no one has that issue? Great. So let's see what. All right, nothing yet. So let's go here. How should a school district deal with transgender ideology in light of Colorado's passage of HB 2513-12, pronouns affirmative care? Ivy, you will begin, and you have 60 seconds, 1 minute.
So I actually stood in line to testify against that. There were about 500 people signed up, and they put all the conservatives towards the back end, so we didn't get to speak. But I'm a biology major. I know full well, and you all should memorize this number, 0.01%, 0.01, that's 1 in 10,000, are naturally occurring gender dysphoria. Everything else is social contagion, achieved through these horrible activists that are grooming our kids, that are doing horrific things to the minds of our children. And so when they say you are whatever phobic they're accusing us of, quote these stats. We are against the activists. We're against these leftist, communist, globalists that are coming in all shapes and forms and professions to affect our children. And we need to stand firm against them and push them back and protect our children.
I really don't know what to say about the state of Colorado at this time. We've had to deal with several of these issues at the board level. The first one they gave us is you must write a policy about non-legal name changes. And the way it was intended is that this isn't to be shared with parents. Well, that's not what we did. We wrote up a policy that involved mandatory parental notification and consent. Now, what's really cool is several other districts began to copy our policy, and Elizabeth improved it. We were doing that in District 49 before the state was telling us what we had to do. When it comes to gender dysphoria, the leading expert, and I think he's out of Canada, he talked about gender dysphoria, and he says by the age of 80 to 85% of those people end up choosing the biology they were born with. And so it's a very complex issue, but I am sick and tired of the state of Colorado telling us what we have to do.
So to deal with this issue is actually going to take civil disobedience, and that is exactly what we did as a school district. We did vote against House District, don't know the number because it's not on there, House Bill 1312, thank you. House District 1312, which would have stripped parents of their rights and gave favor to parents who affirm gender dysphoria in custody battles and labeled misgendering as coercive control, and strips schools of local control when it came to dress codes by saying that you can cross-dress, which is not okay. So we as a district took a stand against that. We also took a stand against no boys and girls sports, or stand for no boys and girls sports, because we were very much against having boys and girls spaces. And it's not okay for boys to be in girls' bathrooms. It's not okay for them to play on sports teams. And I'm just getting started.
Okay, I've got one of you out there that's speed texting. So many people say there are sexually perverse / grooming books in the school libraries and or classrooms. What do you know about this, and what will you do to protect children in all grades in this area? Jamie Lynn, you are first.
Perfect. Okay, so we created a new curriculum review process policy to help with that. We also have for our library books, we have a library and classroom book protocol for collection, curation, and clearance. This policy ensures that library and classroom books are reviewed by a collective team for appropriateness and educational values. So any of those books that are sexually explicit are not allowed in our school districts. We have not had the issues that District 20 and District 11 had with mass parents coming to our board meetings and reading these materials out loud to us, because we don't currently have, as I know, those materials that are in our libraries. So that's how we took care of that one, through policy, to make sure that we're having that reviewed by a group of people, not just one person saying, this is it, this is not.
Well, I would just say, yeah, what she said, but it actually goes a little bit deeper. In that the superintendent worked with Jamie Lynn and I to look at this and to help develop that protocol. And a lot of people will use, throw away pejoratives like, oh, book banners. Okay, well, if you want to go down that route, let's just give every second grader a copy of Hustler magazine. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is educational value and age appropriate. Now, if you look at the book 1984, it includes murder, adultery, all kinds of stuff, but the lessons in that book are incredible for a high school senior. And so when you look at age appropriate, when you look at the educational value of a book, that's not book banning, that is responsible governance. So if you look at, there's a website called booklooks.org, and it shows that we have some books that we actually don't have, but we have done an excellent job of keeping our libraries as a safe place to be. And if parents want them to have other books, they can go to Amazon.
So I am absolutely against any of these materials to be presented in front of our children. A young mind is one that's easy to pollute. And even though we're not the parents, we're not the families, it is our responsibility as a school district to keep all these materials out of their sight and mind. Unfortunately, we have ACLU and I have to say, dirty lawyers and dirty players that are bringing lawsuits against districts that try to ban these books. I have ideas for banning, the essence of banning without banning them. We can put them behind locked cages, requires a special check-in that requires a parental signature. I'm still looking into it since I'm not on the board right now, I don't need to, but there are ways to get around preventing these materials from getting to our kids. And it is our responsibility to keep them away from our children. And the fact that, like I said, there are lawsuits going on right now against these school districts, it is sad, it's pathetic. And Elizabeth is one of them right now.
Ivy, you'll take this one first. There are prolific buzzwords being thrown around lately, including mental health and trusted adult. Where do you stand on these buzzwords? And trusted adults.
Did you know that, that is another communist ploy. They're trying to separate the family. They're trying to break up the parental relationship between the parents and the children. And so the more they push the kids toward, we're family at school, the more they push away from the parents. And with the grooming, with the LGBTQ, they actually come outright and say, don't trust your parents are not safe. So all of that is all part of the communist ploy. But as far as, I'm sorry, okay, I lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
But the two buzzwords are mental health.
Oh, the buzzwords, mental health.
And trusted adult.
So mental health, the way I perceive it, when superintendents push for it, they want more counselors. And I question that because what are these counselors doing? So it's all about grooming. It's all about this activism that's going on. I don't trust any of it. I'm going to get rid of it all until I can put it back in place one by one that is in a safe manner.
District 49 was the first school district in Colorado to pass the Parents' Bill of Rights. We don't do anything without parental knowledge And if we ever do, I want to hear about it. And so when it comes to mental health resources, that's kind of a gray area. We should not be providing direct mental health care. If there's screening, they should be referred to outside agencies. But you also have to look at situations like autism. I had a nephew with autism who would have severe and crippling anxiety attacks. So they would teach him to work with a counselor. Or what are you going to do when this happens? So if you're just going to burn it all down and not leave the supports there for IEPs and 504s, you have a problem, because there are kids who need extra support. And also keep in mind that counselors also help people project their college pathway. It's not all mental health counselors. They do a lot more. When it comes to trusted adults, I don't have that. I have not seen that in any of our policies, but I hope that they will know who, if they ever need help, they can turn to within our security team and our teachers.
Okay, so schools are places of education. They are not mental health facilities. Like I said earlier, students need to be taught the value of hard work, determination, personal responsibility, excellence, integrity, and self-discipline. They should not be being asked to get in touch with their feelings or to discuss what's happening at home with mental or other mental health issues with school personnel during school hours on the school campus. Again, schools are to educate. They are not mental health facilities. So with that, it's really important for us to be able to support kids who are dysregulated. I know, because I'm a teacher, I know students who can get that way. The best way to handle those situations is to pull the kid out, have them take a deep breath, help them go through a couple of maybe physical activities, and then say, we're gonna go back in, we're gonna learn math, this is how it's gonna work. We go back in, we help them with that, and then we notify parents immediately about issues so that they can handle it outside the classroom, in their homes.
Enter back in. You're first. Do you feel teachers should be trained and then allowed to carry a weapon in the classroom?
Yes, absolutely. I am a huge proponent for our Second Amendment. And I would love to be able to see faster Colorado in our schools. I've actually mentioned it all the time, every time we talk about school safety, even at my own school and other schools. And I applaud LTA for having that program in their school so that school personnel can have concealed carry to protect our kids. The average police response time is longer than 8 minutes. In 8 minutes, an armed man or an armed gunman or a kid that comes into a school can wreak a lot of damage. And pretty much it's over within 3 minutes. So in order to stop the threat where it's at, you have to have an armed personnel person on the campus. It's also a deterrent for those who are seeking places that are vulnerable. They're not going to go to a school that they know staff are concealed carrying.
So now we get back to when I think it was a federal legislation where they were telling pediatricians to ask kids, are there guns in your house? And I instructed my children not to answer that question. I am also a big fan of FASTER Colorado, and some of our charter schools have been through the FASTER training, and I won't say which ones. Also, our security staff sends a few of its security staff through the FASTER Colorado training. So it's not just, hey, here's a teacher. We also have our security staff going through the training through FASTER Colorado, which is very, very comprehensive. We have a resource officer at all of our high schools, plus we have armed security. We have armed security at our middle schools. We would love to increase to where every elementary school also had that. We have a roving patrol. And so we do take school safety, it's a top priority for us. And we work with our security team, and they are excellent.
So I'm a big proponent of Second Amendment rights. I conceal carry. And I believe Colorado has probably got way, way, way more guns and concealed carriers than probably any other state. And so one of the people that were against teachers carrying guns is that, oh, you cannot force teachers to carry. I don't think you have that problem here in Colorado. And yes, the deterrent idea, the idea of there's a sign out front that the teachers may be armed would be more than enough to deter any of the soy boys that comes in shooting at our kids. And so, yes, I am definitely for that. And like I said, I don't think we'll have any problem recruiting volunteers who are more than ready to and willing to carry, they probably already carry, to protect our children. And so, yes, our children's safety is first and foremost. And you know what? This is a topic we should talk amongst adults. We should not be talking about this in front of our children. They should not be worried about this.
Ivy? It's okay, you'll get it right just before we're done. You'll get it. All right. What governing body do you believe owns curriculum?
The board. Now, I don't know what's changed in the last couple of years, but I was told I was shocked when I first got on the board that the board gave up that responsibility about 10 years ago. I said, what the heck? That is one of the primary responsibilities of the board. And I think we have taken some of it back. I don't know all of it, but let's face it. There are publishing companies that are derived from staunch communist families, Macmillan being one of them. There are probably others that I'm still trying to learn about. And we buy Macmillan curriculum, which means it is packed with indoctrination. Now, it's not something you catch right away by flipping through a few pages, but it is there. It is their intent. Just like social emotional learning, they announce this is their intent is to raise social justice warriors. And so we have curriculum out there that we need to take control of so we can stop polluting our children's mind.
Article 9, Section 15 of the Colorado State Constitution specifies local control of curriculum. We are one of 7 states in the United States of America, Florida is another one, where we have local control of curriculum. The other 43 states, the state determines what curriculum you use. I'm really proud to say that, once again, Jamie Lynn put in place a curriculum review policy, which is going to be revised again. Because the one thing it didn't contain was the ability to check out the books and take them home. So when we had a new curriculum in the Falcon Zone, it hit during a time where I was working 10 to 12 hours a day and I couldn't get out there. But I was able to get out there and look at the math curriculum. So now we're looking at revising that policy so the community, any community member can sign up to go look at our curriculum. And if you really want to find out how bad curriculum could be, look at the one put out by National Geographic. We did not buy that curriculum.
So when I first got on the board, I was highly upset that we had given away our responsibility as board members to the zones to be able to make whatever choices they had. So it was my number one goal to get in there and make sure that we have curriculum review process, which is what Lori was mentioning. So we did create a policy so that all curriculum has to go through a review process that requires community input, research validated, not just research based, research validated materials that have actually been used with children with proven results, and board approval to ensure best practices. The board has to say, yes, we're going to have this curriculum, or no, we vote no against it. That's something that I did as a board member. Now, we need to make it even more in place by saying we need to go back to the curriculum we currently have and review that curriculum, because this is only for new curriculum.
Jamie Lynn, too, will get this before we're done. You're first. This came in from a teacher. Artificial intelligence is a serious threat to academic achievement, especially for the improvement of English writing skills. I know this to be a problem because of the students using laptops and submitting papers not written with their own work. And how will you address this issue?
Oh, well, that's just opening a can of worms. Okay, so AI, unfortunately, is here to stay. I mean, there's really nothing we can do about the fact that when kids are at home doing their homework, they are going to be using AI. What we have to do as a board is how do we control that in the classroom? Classroom use. So we need to have some sort of policy in place. And right now, we don't even know, we know like this much of what AI is capable of doing. How do you create a policy when you know little about it? So that's the big problem that we are having right now is we've talked about this. We need a policy. And we're like, okay. And then we had to change it this way. And then something else happens. And so one thing I know about AI is that it can be really, really evil. And you can use it for other purposes as well. But I don't like AI at all. We have to have some sort of policy to regulate it in classroom use and to be able to check papers.
You've heard me mention dysregulated kids and some of the problems. Well, let me tell you about something. We have some really incredible kids in our district, and I am the liaison with the Student Board of Representatives, and we've actually been discussing developing this policy, and they've had some really good input into this. So when you hear about the kids who are not behaving, I want you to know we've got some incredible students that I am so proud of. So artificial intelligence can be used for good. It can be used for evil. It was used to create playing cards that where they would generate naked images of people and trade them like trading cards. It can also be used for good as well. And so I hate to see kids learn or lose critical writing skills, and I'd like to see more handwritten papers being done as well, because my pastor always talks about the value of journaling and what it does for memory retention. So we're going to have to be very thoughtful because AI is here to stay, and there are even fields being created for artificial intelligence.
So AI is a monster. It could be good, but it could be very, very bad. It could be used for grooming much more powerfully than these Facebook groups who are grooming our kids. So it is something that has to be handled. I'm actually consulting with all three of my kids are either in crypto or IT or something like that. And I'm talking to them about this AI thing. It would have to be from the top down, just like discipline in the classroom, just like everything else that goes on in the schools. It has to be a very firm top-down decision from the board to the superintendent all the way down about consequences of abusing AI, about cheating with AI. It has to be done and in a firm way that maybe this district or any other districts may be used to, but there need to be consequences when kids cheat.
Ivy, you will take this question first. I would like everyone to know I have a really good idea of what AI is capable of. I've seen all the Terminator movies, so I know exactly what AI can do. Yeah. So, Ivy, since 2019, we've had high failure rates in the school district for math and English. What is the greatest impediment to raising scores of core subjects, and what would you propose to correct that situation?
So in my beginning speech, I talked about how D49 has not caught up, and that's a sad thing. It's not a happy thing, and we're not accusing teachers of not doing what they're supposed to do. I'm going to put on the leadership, which is the board and the superintendent. It's not a happy thought. People don't like, I got beaten up for it. I have been chastised in every which way. Shut up. But that's where the responsibility lays. And we're not improving our scores because we have too many distractions in the classroom, too much talk about mental health, too much SCL. They're spending the first 45 minutes of the day talking about social emotional learning. That's the sharpest part of any day for us adults too. And now we're sitting there in a circle talking about how do we feel? No, we got to get rid of all distractions. Again, is pedal to the metal. We got to get focused on education and nothing else for a while. That may sound out of balance, but we are in a crisis. D49 is in an educational crisis, and we need to put our foot down and do something for the next year or two.
We actually have quantifiable metrics that we review. We have a team that is working on literacy skills, and we have another team that is working on math skills. I have a friend who's a teacher, and the other day she told her students, I am the best teacher, so you are so lucky because you're going to do great. And she was setting high expectations. And that's the issue that we need to do with, and this has to be collaborative between teachers and parents. We have to set high expectations. I hate the barrier of low expectations because that is just a guarantee for failure. I also think we need to look at the victim-victor mentality. And, you know, my mother was raised with every bit of odds stacked against her, and she had to be the original hold my beer person because she has done amazing things with her life. So I want kids to know resiliency, and I want to give them high expectations and to see good collaboration between parents and teachers.
So schools are there to educate, like I had said earlier, and our priority needs to be reading, writing, and math achievement scores. This is extremely important. We did have a goal of becoming accredited with distinction. This is tied to CMAS scores, college and career readiness scores, and graduation rates. I just want to clarify something that was said. So college and career readiness scores is not actually 30% if you remove Goal Academy. Goal Academy is one of our highest charter schools that has more of a population of students than all of our high schools combined. So there are over 6,000 students that are in this school, and it's a last chance school for students who may not be able to get credits because of pregnancy or addiction, or they're on the failure rate. So I just wanted to clarify that, where our scores are actually a lot higher than they're perceived to be. We've also seen an increase in reading and math scores on Dibbles 8 and Star Reading every single year, and we have 7 schools of distinction, and none of our schools are on priority improvement.
Okay, so thank you all for your text questions. I do want to let you know that none of the questions, including your text questions, obviously, but none of the questions they answered here tonight that they have ahead of time. So they definitely went through this off the top of their heads and any other preparation they may have done, but we did not provide any of these questions ahead of time. So with that, we're going to allow them to give their closing statement, and we will begin with Jamie Lynn. Yep, that's how that works. I mean, we're at the end and you're still... All right.
Just have to give you a hard time. All right, for the last 4 years, I have fought tirelessly to make sure inappropriate books are not in our libraries by passing our library and classroom book protocol. I have fought for parental rights by passing our Parents' Bill of Rights and Responsibilities so our parents are informed about everything going on with their child. I have fought against transgender ideology by passing policy to not allow boys to compete as girls in boys' sports and to not be in the same bathrooms. We violated state statutes to do that, and we even filed a lawsuit against the state. I have fought for U.S. history, government, and civics courses to require to graduate with an emphasis on Constitution and patriotism. I have fought to raise academic scores by requiring district-wide metrics to measure the success of our students and tying our superintendent evaluation to the academic achievement data. Although I have made good progress, I am not done yet, and if elected, I will continue to fight the good fight to establish righteousness in our schools once again. My name is Jamie Lynn Davola for Director District 1, and I'm asking you to vote for me so I can continue to stand against ideologies that are stealing the minds of our children. Thank you.
I heard every word, but I listened to Ben Shapiro. Anyway, so what I'd like to kind of touch on the highlights is the board approval rating has raised 18 points. 18 points year over year, and I'm very proud of that. I am so proud of our Parents' Bill of Rights. When the state of Colorado wanted to dictate what safety would be, how it would be handled across the state, we did a resolution for local control over school safety. We also did, when they tried to do an end run to attack charter schools, we did a resolution trying to push back on the state because they are going after charter schools. 52% of our kids go to our charter schools. We have more parent choice in District 49 than any other school district that I know of, and I am proud of that because I believe in parents' rights and I believe in parents' choice. So we will continue on with a focus on academic improvement. We will continue on with parental notification and parental rights, and we will stand up for our kids.
So you were probably handed a piece of paper that shows you past votes by this board and the various board members, and also the scores. The scores come right out CDE. There's no making up, there's no twisting it, no turning it. I'm running because we cannot vote for the same insanity for the 14th year. And this is not about Peter Hiltz personally, it is about the fact that we have a superintendent that's been there for 14 years, and we've been 13 years, and we've been failing for 13 years. There's no argument about it. We need a total change. We need a total overhaul. And it's not just about the superintendent. It's about all the other practices that we are currently practicing that we need to look at and review why all these fancy policies we're passing for resolutions and promises of this and that hasn't changed our score. 70% of our kids cannot do math. 55% cannot read and write. You can't argue against that. We need to change that.
Okay, so again, in order, that was Ivy Lou, Lori Thompson, Jamie Lynn Davola. Those were your three candidates here tonight. Just so you are aware, we did invite every candidate that is running in District 49. These are the three brave souls that decided they would show up and get beat up by me. So please give them a hand.